all set up here now. Dust sheets down, mainly from sawdust really, which gets absolutely everywhere, even though I'm not really using any power tools on this job. But yeah, and sod's law, if you use a bit of glue or a bit of mastic, no matter how clean and tidy you are, you're always going to get something on an elbow or something like that and lean on something, and before you know it there's stuff anywhere. So always best, if you can, dust sheet down. So the job here is to fit out this, I was going to say cupboard, and of course you don't use words like that when you're afloat. This could be a lazarette, but usually lazarettes I would say would be on deck or access from the deck at the aft part of the boat. You could refer to this as being the rudder flat. Obviously this is the rudder post coming up here, and up the top there you've got the hydraulics for the steering, and this little gizmo here is basically the gauge or actuator to tell you where the rudder is, what degrees it is. So when you're up at the helm position, you know whether you're dead ahead or 10 degrees to port or starboard, and that also feeds back to the all the self-steering gear. There's a Raymarine on this vessel. As you can see, it's quite a large space. I could probably crawl into here quite easily and lay down, and it's unused. You can see in the sort of bilges here these painted iron offcuts as ballast. They're absolutely solid, these things. Oh god damn, you know, they weigh a ton, quite literally probably. So this needs to be fitted out just so it can be used as a bit of storage really, nothing too fancy. But the main thing obviously is to protect that bit of electronics. So probably the plan here is just to create some sort of box with a lid, all get-atable and dismantleable, preferably without tools if possible, and then just a bit of ply down the bottom here. Might box in these cables and this bit of hydraulics as well, perhaps. See how we go. So these were bits of Douglas fir in the workshop that I ripped up and planed, width and thickness about 1.25 inches by about 3/4. That's basically how it came out. No real sort of particular dimension there, but obviously they've got all sharp edges, so even on a job like this, in a locker that's never going to be seen ever again sort of thing, you still want to take the edges off, take that arris off, the external corners, cut the swipes with your block plane, and even the edges there all round, just so that the bit of paint that is going to go on there has got something to stick to. And also, sod's law is that it'll be you who goes in that cupboard next time round, and you don't want to catch yourself in any of those sharp corners. So the thing is to paint the back side, the faying surface as we call it. So this is the side that goes on the bulkhead. It's a nice thick primer on all the ends, and also the underside. We can get to the top and the face later on, but there, that's all now primed. No mastic or glue or anything like that going on to the bulkhead that this is getting fixed to, but that paint there now will certainly give that a lot of life later on down the years to come. That is the advantage of self-tapping screws. So just to give you a little insight on how this job's going and the kind of work that's involved, just to create a little box in such a small crawl space over there. Bit of ply here, bit of marine ply, and as you can see there's a cutout here for a bracket. You've obviously got the curve there to fit into the, or alongside at least, that big frame. On the edge here is tapered because this side wants to come out at least to finish up looking plumb, so that has to be tapered in there. And then the top here we put a batten on there to take the front face of the ply, and as you can see on the top, that's all angles as well. And then this top here has to be finished at least parallel with the other side and the front. I'm not too worried about level and plumb, it's just by eye really, but of course you've got plenty of references in there with the stem and the post of the rudder and things like that. And also this cupboard frame is probably the key sort of datum, as much as you can open a cupboard and the last thing you want to see is this on the wonk. So long as this sort of eyes in with the frame of the cupboard, I'm going to be happy. Right, just finalising things now, ready for whoever's going to paint all this. So we've got ply boards in all round, nice little finger holes so they can lift up, and as you can see there's a little framework on these sides on here, so there's just a little screwed in panel just there, so if you need to work on any of this stuff, that panel can just come off. So it means that you just come in now, get at any of the ballast if need be. That's all in there. That's good. That little hole there is so you can get to the greaser for the stuffing box for the rudder tube there. So as I was aiming for, just as you look in at the open locker, that all looks generally plumb and level with the frame of the locker door here, which is all you can really hope for. And as you sort of sight round, that's all basically the same. And yeah, so it's just little, hopefully little details like that that make the job worthwhile. So you see all the mess here with the dust sheet, and you can see how beneficial the dust sheet is. And one obviously little plus point is I can just fold all that into the middle of the sheet now and just pick the whole lot up to take away back to the truck.
So you don't be a minimal bit of hoovering up, and you're then not moving millions of bits of ply and all the rest of it. So you can just essentially bag it up with a dust sheet, bring all the corners together and lift away. So yeah, well worthwhile.